there's no need even to have a college degree at all, or even high school. I mean, if somebody graduated from a great university, that may be an indication that they will be capable of great things, but it's not necessarily the case. You know, if you look at, say, people like Bill Gates or Larry Ellison, Steve Jobs, these guys didn't graduate from college. First of all, you don't need college to learn stuff, okay? Everything is available basically for free. You can learn anything you want for free. It is not a question of learning. There is a value that colleges have, which is like, you know, seeing whether can somebody work hard at something, including a bunch of sort of annoying homework assignments, and still do their homework assignments, and kind of soldier through and get it done. You know, that's like the main value of college. And then also, you know, if you probably want to hang around with a bunch of people your own age for a while instead of going right into the workforce. So I think colleges are basically for fun and to prove you can do your chores, but they're not for learning. If you think of like what is education, like you're basically downloading data and algorithms into your brain, and it's actually amazingly bad in conventional education, because like it shouldn't be like this huge chore. Like the more you can gamify the process of learning, the better. Like for my kids, I do not have to encourage them to play video games. Okay, I have to like pry them from their hands, like crack.
Yeah.
And I think unfortunately, like a lot of education is very vaudevillian. You've got you know, someone standing up there kind of lecturing at people, and they've done the same lecture 20 years in a row, and they're not very excited about it. And that lack of enthusiasm, you know, is conveyed to the students. They're not very excited about it. They don't know why they're there. Like, why are we learning this stuff? We don't even know why. In fact, I think a lot of things people learn, probably there's no point in learning them, because they never use them in the future. Because a lot of kids just in school kind of puzzled as to why they're there. And I think if you can explain the why of things, then that makes a huge difference to people's motivation. Then they understand purpose. So I think that's pretty important, and just make it entertaining. But I think just in general, like conventional education should be massively overhauled, and I'm sure you very much agree with that. But
the teachers do not explain why kids are being taught a subject. You know, just sort of get dumped into math and like, well, why are you learning math? What's the point of this? This seems like some, you know, for some people, like maybe it's, I don't know why I'm being asked to do these strange problems. But you know, the why of things is extremely important, because you know, our brain has evolved to discard information that it thinks has no relevance. So then, if on the one hand you're being asked to memorize or learn, say, formulas, but you do not know why this is the case, then you have this cognitive dissonance of, it seems irrelevant, but I'm being told to remember it, so I'll be punished. So I better remember it. But so the why of things is very important, and then being able to, and then picking kind of a problem, and then using various educational tools to solve that problem, like using math or physics or economics to solve that problem, is far more engaging than teaching the tools. You know, it's the difference between if you say, well, we're going to take apart this engine and see how it works and put it back together again. And then in order to take the engine apart, we need, you know, wrenches and screwdrivers and a winch and Allen keys and whatnot. And then in the course of solving the problem of taking the engine apart and putting it back together, you learn about wrenches and screwdrivers and all the tools that you need. And then now you understand the relevance. This is why wrenches are important. You know, whereas if you had a class on wrenches, why does this not seem that great? You know, so tying it to solving a problem is, I think, very powerful for establishing relevance and getting kids excited about what they're working on. And having the knowledge stick. I think like things like CubeSats, what is a solar panel, how does orbital dynamics work, how do we how do we power this thing? How do batteries work, electronics, control systems, and you need to. Then you're like, oh, we want to make our satellite work. That's why we need to understand all these disciplines. So things like CubeSats, student CubeSats are great. Like things like design, build, fly for model airplanes or Formula SAE. We've got to design and build a kind of a race car and race that against other people. I think those things are very powerful for learning as learning tools.
How did the Wharton degree help? I think a business degree teaches you a lot of the terminology. It introduces you to concepts that you would otherwise, there's terminology. There's something to be said for that. Introduces you to concepts you would otherwise have to learn empirically. I think you can learn whatever you need to do to start a successful business, either in school or out of school. School, in theory, should help accelerate that process, and I think it oftentimes it does. It can be an efficient learning process, perhaps more efficient than empirically learning lessons. But really, I think there are examples of successful entrepreneurs who never graduated high school, and there are those that have PhDs. So I think the important principle is to be dedicated to learning what you need to know, whether that is in school or empirically.
I don't consider going to college evidence of exceptional ability. In fact, ideally you dropped out and did something. I mean, obviously, Gates is a pretty smart guy, he dropped out. Jobs is pretty smart, he dropped out. Larry Ellison, a smart guy, he dropped out. Obviously not needed.
So,
did Shakespeare even go to college? Probably not.